Hey everybody, welcome. And if you don't know who I am, which would be a little silly, I'm GALINDO, your tech guru and owner of Advanced Networks LLC. So let me ask you a question. Do you know if your identity has been compromised, hacked, or even used for malicious acts? Well, today I want to dive into those items and show you some tools that are going to help you with this threat. Let's dive into it. Okay, so in the first quarter of 2021, the public record of the US had shown that 15% of hacks, intrusions, and malicious attacks had been happening across the globe. But by quarter two of 2021, that became an 18.8 billion records in the hands of people that can do damage with your information. So why are we talking about that today in this newsletter? Well, to give you facts on that, it's going to be also to show you tools that are going to not only help you understand if you've been compromised, but at the same time show you how to stop these things from happening. This is going to be a dive that's going to help you not only on the personal side, but on the business side as well. So let's go do a shared screen so I can show you what I am talking about. So the first thing we're going to look at is you're going to open up on a page, tablet, your phone. It doesn't really matter. You're going to go to a website called haveibeenpwned.com. Now, this website will actually show you if your email has been compromised in any data breaches or sold for, malicious acts, or best of all, to basically shut your systems down, like your social media and things like that. Now, this works for any email address that you've ever used, so it's a good idea to have that. Now, again, haveibeenpwned.com has been around for a while and has great statistics, and it does give really relevant information for you and your business as well. So haveibeenpwned.com does not have an A in the pond. So if you look at the on the site, it's haveibeenpwned.com. So go ahead and go there. And in the meantime, we're just going to show you with the current email address that we used as a test. Now, this email address was an email that I've been using for many, many years that has not been in existence as of now, but I want to show you what it really means. So you put in your email address in here, and you want to see if you've been compromised. So what you're going to do is once you've put that in there and hit this little button right here that says pond, the whole bottom of this layer will turn green or red. Red is not good. Red means that email address has been compromised, data has been stolen, etc., etc. Now, if you scroll down, you're going to see the different websites that email has been used in data breaches. Dropbox had a data breach a couple of years ago in 2016 and in 2012 where this information was stolen, including that email address. Now, that means that there was a lot of data. I'm looking at it right now, 68 million records were subsequently traded online, sold in the black market, etc. That's email address, passwords, phone numbers, addresses, your personal information. If any of these require Social Security, that's in there, and so on and so on. So the best thing to do is if you put in your email address and you notice that you have been pawned, as we put it on here, you must log into these websites. Change your password immediately. Not a simple password, a very cryptic password, not your norm, not your birthday, something extremely out of the norm. Don't add a one to the current password that you have. Make it very, very complicated. Second, you want to let Dropbox know in support that you are part of a breach so they can also take measures into securing your account. One being that they'll most likely tell you to do a two-factor authentication. All that means is when you log into Dropbox, it is going to send you a text to your phone or other devices where you have to accept it to allow a second type of authentication to get into this account. This way you can get your data restored. Most likely, I would recommend not using that email address, or if you have to use that email address because you've used it like I have for millions of years, then it's probably a good idea to change all of your information in those platforms. Next, you also see that this email was already used in 2,844 separate data breaches. which has been sold on that, my email address and my password. So if I've used that password consistently for that email address across the board, it's now been breached. They can basically go to any websites that I've used and try that password as well. You'll also notice that it's on anti-public combo list, Cafe Press, and a lot of different websites that I have used on here, including games and email security verification. So what can you really do with Pond? Well, it's really giving you a roadmap of things that you must change. Well, it does not end there. You can also use this website by looking on who's been pawned, what kind of passwords have been breached, to letting you the basic passwords, and doing a domain search. If I was to go in here and search Bank of America. Has Bank of America been breached? Or has my, Microsoft.com been breached? Like if that was that. You can put in your email address and then it will let you know in an email of all of these items that are breached. Now, another thing that I would also recommend is setting an alert on notifying you on the different companies that you actually have business with. And those are important. Your banks, institutions, Target, Best Buy, things like that. It'll let you know of different places that have been breached. Largest breaches, it'll let you know here. And if you're currently looking at who's been pawned, you can also go here and it'll tell you the recent in chronological order of sites that also have been breached. If you are part of any of these websites that you see here and more, especially Fit, I use Fit. I know there's a compromise. I need to go ahead and change my security right away. Now, 80 or 90% of us working in the tech industry all use Chrome for our browser that we do on a daily basis. Some of you might use Firefox. Some of you might still use Microsoft Edge, or even some of you, which we don't recommend, is using Internet Explorer. Definitely not something you need to be using Internet Explorer because of the breaches and hacks to that system. Now, the next thing to do is I'm going to take you to a few steps here. We are going to go to myaccount.google.com. Now, if you do have an account with Google, this is definitely something that you can do. If you do not have an account with Google, then you should look at your browser, most likely Firefox or Edge, and any of those accounts will have the same type of security measures. Most websites do, most social medias do. So in this example, going to myaccount.google.com, I'm going to be shown this screen here. Now, in this screen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at security recommendations that Google is suggesting for any breaches. Now, the account that is logged into this example, it is a test account that we're using, that we've used. It's kind of like an info account. So I'm going to select protect your account. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to do a security checkup of this browser and that email use. Now, first thing it's going to remind me is that I need to do a two-step factor authentication, which is going to be that secondary mobile device, tablet, etc. To when I log in, it's going to let me know what device has logged in and where, and if I allow it. I can go on my phone and say, yes, I allow this. I know it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but it's very important for you to do this, because if you don't, somebody can go into your account, hack it, change the authentication to their cell phone, and you're never going to be able to get into your Google account. And if it's your personal or even for business or even your G Suite, there really isn't a lot you can do, because once authentication is switched to somebody else, you have to prove arm and a leg to Google of who you are and that account belong to you. And trust me, trying to get a hold of Google, it is literally trying to find a piece of sugar in a sugar amount of sugar. That was the worst example ever. So basically, when you want to do this two-step security, you can do it. You can skip it. For now, I'm just skipping it because I wanted to go and take you through this. You can also see recent security activity of what's happening, what applications are currently using your email address as well as your browser information, but how many devices are logged in. Now, if it's just you and two devices and you see 33 signed in devices, you better take a look at that list of items, because most likely probably not you, and you should really look into that. Now, to give you an example of that, if I was to open that up, I have a gazillion devices, so 33 devices to me is not uncommon. So All I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and look at California, United States, and so on. If I'm seeing anything outside of the States, I would be leery because I have not been out of the States in a while. So going through all of these items, there's a few things in here that should not be logged in. 2, 3, 4 devices that I see in here that should not be logged in. And also this one right here, it's called Tizen or Tizen. That's another one that I do not recognize. So you can actually click on here, sign out this device, or if you say you don't recognize it, it's going to take you through a factor authentication. Just like when you lose your bank card, it's going to take you through a reset of a lot of things, which is important to do if you don't recognize it. For now, I would just sign it out and change your password. Very important to do that. Now we're going to go back up to the list of items. The orange exclamation points are very important. The greens are letting you know what is going on. Now, I'm going to take you to your saved passwords. Now, these are passwords that your Chrome or browser has logged into different websites. Now, here's the downfall to that. You must change your compromised passwords. Now, there is a list of compromised passwords and suggested change passwords. Compromise means they've been compromised. They've been used for malicious things, and it is important that you change them right now, today. Pain in the butt because, as you can see, I have 60 currently on that email. I got to go one by one by one. There's no blanket way to do it. You have to literally write down what you have, change it, and I would suggest changing every single one compromised to something different that you write down. Again, not a number after your birthday or your kid's information, etc. So let's go ahead and click on save password on there. Now what it's going to do is it's going to take me to this go password checkup area. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then it's going to take me to this area here that's going to want me to sign into this account. So as soon as I go in here, I'm going to do a password checkup scan, and it's going to take me to an authentication, and it must do that. So you're going to have to enter your information. Once you've entered your information, we're going to go through and it is going to scan and give you detailed information on everything that has been compromised for that account. Now, for me, as you can see, we are using this as a test. So we are looking now at 174 reused passwords that this suggests you have to change. 127 accounts currently using a weak password that also have to change. So if you total those up, that is a lot of work that you have to do. Now, if you're going to say, Israel, can you do it for me? That is a lot of work of personal information that you are going to have on there. Now, if it's a work related and we're managing your account, which is a domain within your business, then we can help you, but we would have to sit down with you and change those compromised items. So let's go kind of just a quick through of what some of these are. Some of these passwords that I've used in the past will also look at any other email addresses that have been attached to this. Now, this is going to let me know that these have been in non-Google data breaches. And the reason they say non-Google is technically they link you to other sites, but it wasn't a Google breach. It was a breach of these other companies. Now, if you're looking and you work with these other companies, obviously California Lottery, important, right? And Circle and all of those, these are the ones that it's going to basically go, hey, you better change these as of today. Now, when you hit change password, what it's going to do is it's going to bring up a window in a connection to that browser, and it's going to have you log into those pages like a Bird Eye or like a chatbot or Circle or California Lottery, and you're going to have to modify that password there. Another step that you have to do is once you've changed your password, verify the address that it wasn't changed by a data breach. Maybe some hacker went in there and changed it to their phone number, their address, and had changed it. Let me put it into perspective. I know it's silly. A couple of years ago, I was driving and I got an alert that my Netflix password was changed. Okay, email address was changed to somebody in Japan. Phone number was changed to a phone number in Japan. I could not access my Netflix account. Even with Netflix on the phone, they could not verify that that account belonged to me. The only way they were able to understand that it was is the credit card on file stayed. And that was because that person that hacked my Netflix account wanted to watch Netflix and share it with their friends in Japan, but they wanted me to continue to pay for it. I was able to verify my credit card information. on that, and then Netflix was able to stop that account, stop the fraudulent activity. They even gave me 3 months of free service. Okay, whatever. But I had to literally create a new account, and my profiles had to be changed, and my movie favorites would change. Now, could I have kept that account? They felt it was intruded already, and it was probably not a good idea. In their eyes, they wanted you to start over. So the next thing that I also want to show you, and this is going to be for your devices, is have you protected your device? This is iPhone, Android, iPads, you name it, whatever, with these kind of things. How do you know if your device has been also intruded? Because any text that you get, any links that you get, any emails that you get, you can get a link sent to you and takes your device and becomes a hack node. So here's a few things that you can do, and this is what I do. I'm going to change screens, but before I do, let me go into turning on my iPhone's sharing capability so you can see my screen. So let me turn that on. All right, so I'm going to switch screens to where my iPhone is currently set up. Give me 1 second and I will get on that right now. iPhone, iPhone, iPhone. Here it is. Okay. So to the right of me here is my iPhone. And I have an app on there called the Lookout app. It's green, it's on the top. You can get that on Android and iPhone. There is a free version, which is 90% useful. And then the paid version gives you a little more on your social security, mortgage, yada, yada, whatever. So I'm going to open up the app. The first time you open up the app, it's going to scan your entire system, including whatever email you register on this device. Now, green means good, as you already know that, and orange means warning, and as usual, red, you better deal with it. So we're going to start with the ones that I really want you to look at. Security recommendations are always very important, so you want to start with the security and the security advisor. Now, this is for your device. If you don't have a password on your phone, it's going to tell you to set one, and it's also going to scan your device to see if your operating system and updates are up to date. Yes, your device can get hacked if it's behind, because think about it. If the code has been out there for a while, hackers get access to it, developers can crack it and then get into it with weak entries and loopholes that the operating system, not just for iPhone, for Android and everything else, even for Microsoft phones. So once I see that it's green on that and everything looks good, safe browsing, what it is you can enable safe browsing on any websites that you go to. Now, safe browsings are really going to be also for knowing the habit of what websites you go to. Maybe you don't go to nice websites, maybe you do. Either way, if you ever go to a website that has been intruded or hacked, it will let you know, hey, don't go into this website because it has hacks, viruses, you name it, and you can be a part of that. So what you want to do is then you can ignore it and still continue to the site, or you can say, okay, get me out of this website. I do not want to go into that website. You can enable safe browsing on that. Now, safe Wi-Fi is very important. If you're using your devices on Wi-Fi, especially when you have public Wi-Fi's, coffee houses, stores, you name it, any public places, including libraries, this will scan the Wi-Fi to see if there's any intrusions. As you can see, I'm using my Wi-Fi internally that has a password protection, but if I was to go into, say, Starbucks, it will be orange and let me know, hey, you probably do not want to do that. There's been hacks in this Wi-Fi. So it's probably something that you want to make sure that you are not part of. Next, ID scan is another important one. You can put in an email address on it. This is the one I registered with. And when I scan now, it's going to go and scan my email just like the browsers on the PC did. And it's going to let me know that 16 breaches have my office email address used. And I need to go in there and change all of those things. As you can see, promo.com is a music company that I've been with for, wow, since 1999. It's a music promo site. And as you can see in 2020, email addresses were stolen, addresses, genders, IP addresses, names, and passwords. So people can know where I live, have who I am, my information, IP address of my home, and names of the people that I've registered on this account. So very scary. So these are the things you have to go through and change. Canva is another one. Canva is used extremely popular right now, and it keeps getting more popular. It's basically a cloud-based Photoshop for Anybody can create something amazing out there in a matter of seconds. And as you can see, geographical locations were stolen on that. Probably not something that I really want to hear, because I don't want people to then come to my house. That would be really bad. So things that I have to deal with on that one. You can use any email address as well. Another thing that you also want to do is you want to look at the breach reports, and you can add certain services. Maybe again, you shop at Target, maybe Home Depot, maybe you have, Barclays, card stores, or any mall, Macy's, Sears, whatever. Add that information in here so you understand who has been breached and how you can deal with it. Volkswagen has been breached, Morgan Stanley, T-Mobile 2 weeks ago. If you have T-Mobile, you better really change your password as of right now. So that's another thing you want to look at as well. Now, the important one to me, and I know these are all important, is identity protection, identity monitoring. Now, I believe identity monitoring cost me like $3 a month. So this ends up being what, $36 a year if I pay for the advance, which really checks my social security, again, any information on my identity, my person, and things like that. So let's just go into identity monitoring. And as you can see, my phone has been leaked by certain websites. Apollo.io is a company that I use, that I trust. And as you can see, in 2018, they were breached, and my cell phone was basically sold out there to wherever. Also, personal Gmail had been used, and other information that had been leaked. And basic financial information, social networks, and social security is also other information, but I won't go into that because it actually does show on the screen, and I do not need to share that out with the world. So these are the items that you really should have this. Now, again, this is a very trusted application, and it is used by a lot of people to ensure that their devices are staying safe. This is also what reporters use when they are in third world countries to see if their devices are being used. And as you've seen in the last couple of months, there was a bad virus that did come out that was really catered to um, reporters and the media and things like that to hack their devices. Now, one thing that you can see on this is when your device is intruded, they can turn on your camera, they can turn on your microphone, they can listen to you, just like Alexa does, right? And they can basically do anything on your device and use it against you. If you're talking at work and you're talking about business and you're talking about, they can listen about your vendors, they can listen about anything that you have out there. So it's very important that you secure your device. Now, again, that application on there that we have on here, it is called the Lookout app, and it is, you can find it in Apple Store and Android Store, etc. And that is a really, really good thing. So some of the items that I did show you on there are just simple ones that you really, really should protect yourself with. So let's kind of go into protecting your applications. You always got to remember that you have to use a strong password. You generate it. If you don't know how to generate a strong password, don't use a password, use a phrase, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. It's a long password, but you can do something like that. Maybe you want something that's like, the sky is bluer than my yellow shoe, something that's like that, with some numbers and characters and all of that. Two-factor authentication is very important to add, not only to your devices, but also to your PC and Mac. And don't forget application updates again. We keep stating this over and over. Very important that you do those as well. And you can also see through these third-party apps who is connected, as we showed you in the Chrome device, as well as your device, to see if anybody has ever connected to your systems. And then do your due diligence of changing those passwords and set up your two-factor authentication, and make sure that you are checking, again, what devices are being used and where. So next, what is coming up in the roadmap for all of you out there? For this month, Advanced Networks is taking care of looking at internet and your current bill. What does that really mean? Well, here's what happens. When you get a subscription to an internet service provider for your internet business, home, it doesn't matter. They're not going to call you and tell you, hey, if you pay us less, we'll give you more. They're never going to do that. I've never had a company call me and tell me that. So what you do is best thing to do is you want to look online at new promotions. To give you an example, I had a friend of mine who's paying $149 a month for Spectrum, and she was only getting 75 megabits per second. Now, that has been her bill for about 4.5 years. Well, I could tell you right now that if I was to go on Spectrum Business, I can get her a $49 plan for 300 megabits per second. Now, does Spectrum frown on it? Frown on it? Of course they do. If you have a contract, you have to honor the contract, but you can also let them know that if the latest speeds have increased and you are in an older plan and a grandfather plan, it is their responsibility to move you to the latest and greatest plans, because some plans have an end of life. So that's one thing to do. So what we do is we look at your phone bills and we look at your internet and we look at that plan that you're on, and we contact them and we let them know, hey, this is a better speed, this is a lower price, help them out. Or maybe you're paying a little bit more for 3 times the speed. I mean, imagine getting 1 gigabit of internet, which is ridiculous. I get that at home and it is ridiculously fast. I mean, I can't even imagine how fast that thing runs. So that's one thing. Another thing that we're also looking at for this month is replacing hardware, because remember, hardware gets hot. Hardware overworks itself, and just like a blender and just like a microwave or everything burns out. It's got mechanical pieces. So a lot of the hardware, when it runs hot, it runs slow. The performance is weak. So when that happens, you go, my computer's been running slow, or I have a PlayStation that's connected over here, or a TV, and it's been running really slow. And you find out that you have a $20 switch in between everything that connects the network cables, and it's running hot because it's been running for 20 years or 10 years. And that little device gets replaced and everything runs fast again. So these are the kind of things that we're looking to replace. Also, when those things go out, then your internet goes out, then your computer network goes out, then your printer connected goes out. So those are always the things that you want to look at, especially your routers. If you have not changed your router in a while and I'm hounding you to change your router, it is time to change your router, because your router also is older technology that might not be working with a newer internet that is faster and more seamlessly across all of your devices. Next, we're also looking at the dreadful word of it's not working. We're going to give you guys a video of common mistakes for all employees. Now, I know what you're all going to do. That's awesome, Israel. Send me the video. I'm going to bookmark it and never look at the video. Well, you have to look at the video if it's helping you out, because what happens is if you have employees that are always asking the same thing over and over and over and over and over, you're looking at the IT team going, man, are these guys not doing their job? Well, at the same time, the employee could be having the same issue because they've never really been trained on how to do something correctly. Silly story, the other day, somebody asked me, hey, how do you take something I printed and put it back into the computer so I can have a digital copy? And I said, well, where did you print it from? Well, I took all the images from my computer and I printed 100 of them, but I want to scan them back in the computer so I have a digital copy of it. And I bit my lip and I thought about it and I went, so you already have them on the computer as pictures and you printed them, but you are wanting them to go back into the computer so you can have a digital copy. Wouldn't that be a duplicate? Well, no, there were pictures and I want a digital copy of it. Are they wrong? No, they're not wrong. A picture and a digital copy technically is the same thing, but the user did not know that. And so they're saying, my scanner's not working because I can't get the info back in. I printed them, but the scanner won't put them back to where they were, so I don't know where they are. They were having tech issues. But if these people are trained to understand that information and take that extra step, then they're going to know those things and understand that you didn't have to waste paper and print out to then waste time to scan it back in to bring it back into the same system that you have. Believe it or not, in the end, this person actually wanted to take the phone and start taking pictures of all of these to have a digital copy on the phone that then she can forward in an email back to the computer. So anyways, not everybody learns different pace. That's all I'm going to say. So also, we're also going to do the hard truth of employees and staff impersonation and spoofing. What does that mean? Has your staff member's email address been spoofed because they decided to register the company's email address for their Nordstrom account or use it for their Amazon, account, and it's for so they can get their Amazon package alerts to their office, and these have been breached and all of that. We also want to make sure that we show that to you as well. And finally, your antivirus has to be up to date. A lot of you have been disconnecting and basically turning off the updates. I don't want to see it. It pops on the middle of the day. I don't want it. Antivirus is very important, especially right now with ransomware across the board. It is very important that your antivirus is up to date. A lot of the antiviruses that we've been seeing across the board, we manage all of them. We do not like McAfee. If you like McAfee, we should sit down and talk. McAfee has been horrible for many, many, many years. You might even go, not for me, it works perfectly. Are you really scanning and are you really looking to see if it finds anything? Because if it doesn't find anything and you've had it 10 years, well, one, you're not paying for the subscription, because it's basically a yearly subscription. But two, if it doesn't find anything, then I want to shake your hand because you're the cleanest person in the world. But if we bring another antivirus in there to scan that, we will see anomalies and vulnerabilities in your system. So it's very important that we take that very serious, as you not only can infect yourself, but you can also infect the business. So that's something we do not want to have with anybody. And lastly, the videos that we are going to be putting out for you guys as well is going to be using, is email your main form of communication still? Because that's not the way we do business in 2021. So we should really talk about that. Now, also, is cloud better for your business than the current infrastructure? Well, that's a conversation to really sit down and have with you, because your business, although it would thrive on the cloud, it can also be intrusive on the cloud. But it depends on the security measures that are set up by your IT team. So it's very important to have a very secure network before you even decide to go to the cloud. But the cloud also makes everything very seamlessly, especially in 2021, where we have to work from multiple locations, including the bathroom, as some of you have done, looking at your business emails while you're sitting in the toilet. So anyways, no judgment there. We've all done it. Lastly, video about technology that you can be using to manage your business better. Do you have a dashboard that really shows you everything at once? And if you don't, then you should, because then you need to look at everything at once instead of going to 20, 30 different websites. So we could talk about that. All right, I hope you guys are doing great out there. Thank you again for this time. And if you feel you have any information, then you can reach us here. Boom. These are the ways to get a hold of us. You can go to our website and go to the contact page and submit a contact information request. You can also submit a ticket if you're part of our managed services. Go to go.anwsl.com/form/ticket and submit a ticket if you have any requests. Again, that is for if you are a part of our managed service. And if you're not, let us know. We're always happy to help. Or you can always email us at team@anwsl.com, and we are happy to help. I'm Israel Galindo, Advanced Networks. I will talk to you on the next one.